Live on American Zombie tonight. Is the American dream a lie? And a lot of people, George Carlin said, you got to be asleep to believe it because it's a dream. Like, say what's up to Gigi Forever. I think that they're telling us about population. I don't think that's true because there's more than enough space. Mr. X, good to see you, bro. He says, just finished reading Secret Words. Great read. Thanks, man. Thanks. Secret Words? Yeah, man. There's a language hidden within the language. That's what it seems to be. And only thinking people, only survivors in the zombie apocalypse of the mentally dead will be able to see that. Especially with the whole shebang that was sold to people about the white picket fence, safety, security. And now when you look at it, just 30, say 40, 50 years, people since the 50s say, so 70 years, 75 years. And people thought the American dream was real because some people could attain it. But what is it? What is it actually? Is it the white picket fence? Is it working for something, but then your tax dollars are still being sent away to another country? Or is it working and being able to make the country better by reinvested in it? We don't see that as much right now. I was going to title the stream News, how to debunk the news. So, like, for instance, we said yesterday, you look at the news with the immigration stuff, you notice they don't ever talk about why lawmakers or, and just that word alone, lawmakers, man, that's just, man, the way they try to, this wordplay, it's ridiculous. But I'm not saying that people coming over and doing bad things in the country is acceptable. What I'm saying is the people that allow them to come over here allows that to happen. And then they'll geniusly shift the attention to the immigrants that come in. Just like the people that are committing horrible acts on the subway and the train, they'll say, look at their extensive record without ever saying who had, continually let them get away with what they were doing. I mean, you're not going to have that much of an extensive record for nothing. I mean, that's really, really, yeah. But they're also not saying the next, the other side of the story, like we said yesterday too. Browns boy, good to see you, man. Thank you for the 5th like, man. Appreciate it, bro. This whole narrative of showing only one side of crime is really, that's something that people, if you sharpen your mind, you keep your mental shields up, and you use your mental vision, you'll be able to easily see through it. You'll say, wait a minute, what are they not saying? You can read in between the lines, in between the stories. The great, big dream. Oh, the American dream. You come here, you achieve this. Yeah. It used to be that if you worked, you would still get your clock cleaned because you're saying, well, wait a minute, why are you taking some of the money that's supposed to be for taxes where we would get more? We would have basic needs met for everyone. But for some reason, they'll say those people aren't working or wanting to work, and they're going to send it to another country where those people didn't work for it either. I mean, keeping the money here and actually developing things to where people have community centers, that's not in the agenda. But for some reason, we see that, oh, wow, Mr. X is here. What's up, bro?
Yeah, good timing, right before I got plenty of time before I have to get to work, so plenty of timing. I just finished reading your book, by the way, Secret Words. Great read, highly recommend. Great read.
Thanks, man. I
Thanks, man. I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. Yeah. No, just listening in. I'll let you, continue because you're
Yeah,
the American dream. Go right ahead.
definitely, man. Um, yeah, it's like I say, what's up to Kasparov, man? Good to see you, man. Yep, the zombie apocalypse is here, man. Good day, Mark. Good to see you, man. Yeah, this whole illusion that has been casted, and every day the news is
Is
directed.
directed.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
have an
have an
echo. I don't
echo.
know
I
if
don't
you
know
have
if you have
YouTube
YouTube
open
Is it
open,
me?
Mr. X.
or two
But
windows open. Yeah, because it echoes whenever. Yeah, if I speak when you're unmuted, it'll echo. I don't have another window open, just StreamYard. But
but
Yeah, that window's closed right now. I don't know why it's echoing, but I'll keep myself muted for a little bit.
okay, yeah,
okay, yeah.
whenever you want to speak, just unmute. Yeah. Um, yeah, so when we look at the news, it's directed right into people's minds. And then that zombification, mental control, gets them to go and repeat the program until it starts to spread throughout society. And that's all people are thinking about. They're not thinking about why they can't accomplish what was supposedly the American dream. And, you know, when George Carlin said it's called the American dream because you got to be asleep to believe it, he was pretty accurate on that. The first thing would be, look, why would you call it the American dream? If you work, smart. I'm not just saying only hard. You have to know when to work hard and when to work smart. Because if hard work got you rich, every farmer in the world would be wealthy. Those are the hardest working people that are almost unnoticed. It's really it's something a friend of mine told me today. He was like, "Oh man, he's got to wake people up. What's happening with the digital situation?" And I told him, "You can't wake anybody up. They're zombified. You can search for other survivors." And he was getting pretty upset at that. But in reality, because I told him those same people you're trying to wake up are going to tell on you. These are the same people. If you try to wake somebody up about the jab, you already saw where they were using celebrities to push
push
to
to
tell
tell
people,
people,
you
you
know,
know,
you have
you
to
have
get
to
it
get
or
it
you
or
should
you
be
should be
forced to
forced
get
to
it.
get it.
Mr. X.
Mr. X.
Do you still hear the echo?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh my! Should I just come back on again? Get off and come
I
back
I
on?
guess. I
guess.
mean,
I
yeah,
mean,
if
yeah.
you
If you
want. Tasha, what's up? Good to see you. Always a pleasure. Brown's boy says, Mr. X, maybe it's noise cancellation setting. You know something? Yeah, thank you, man. I'm going to check that when he comes back on. Or if he comes back on, I could hit the echo cancellation. I forgot about that, Mr. X. Gigi says, MD, you have to make a show about AI scans and Da Vinci's Jesus paintings. There are hidden messages beneath
Beneath
the
the
painting.
painting.
Here, let
Here,
me
let me
try the
try the
echo
echo
cancellation
cancellation
because it
because it
might.
might.
Okay. You know something? That worked. Wow. Thank you, Browns boy. So yeah, Mr. X, the echo cancellation works. So I
Oh,
don't
okay.
hear the echo back now.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I just want to comment real quick. Looking back on the history of the world, because yeah, the 50s and 60s were good in terms of economically, but we had major wars going on: the Vietnam War, Korean War. I think the only decade that was really good for all Americans was probably the 80s. 90s, yeah, you could argue for the 90s, but then we got into Desert Storm and so forth. But of course, that wasn't as a large scale war as other ones. But I think the 80s was kind of that sweet spot, the 80s and early 90s. Now we've had the longest war ever, with Afghanistan and Iraq, like over 20, 30 years, I think it's been, I don't know. Definitely the American dream, though, in the future, I think is dying. The whole world's going to change dramatically with technology and AI and the robotics and jobs disappearing. So we're going into a whole new realm right now.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think the American dream is pretty much dead. I think, but it's on a worldwide scale, it seems like.
Mhm. I mean, what America does, the world seems to be influenced by dramatically. I'm not sure if it ever really it existed. I mean, it seems like it existed, but when you're doing well, for some reason they say it's like they say you can't see the problems when you look from the top down or even from the middle because you're not going to see everything. You're not going to see what's going on totally from the bottom. When you go to the base of it, that's when you start, to see like base of a building, a base of anything, some type of theory, the base of it. What is it based on? So that whole base of it to say, hey, you know what, you can achieve this dream. And all you got to do is work hard. One, we know that if hard work made you rich, every farmer in the world would be rich. So that right there, when they say work hard, they don't like to tell people if you work smart, if you work cooperatively. I mean, the first thing is food. And one thing I notice is that they're not there never was an emphasis on growing food. Well, I remember in kindergarten, I think it was there, first grade, we grew a corn seed, and when it sprouted, that was it. There wasn't no see it till it gets big or whatever. It was actually like an experiment that actually would, I think, deter people, like saying, all right, if I plant something, I'm not going to bother to go back and chart its growth. Just going to plant it and forget about it. The religion, a lot of it has to do, when we think that it's a fine line, because remember again the wording. If people think religion is just man-made, then what are they saying about all of this other stuff? Did technology just was it invented by humans? When you look at some technology, you have to have an extensive lineage. When we look at nature in the whole, with the mimics and stuff like that, the fungi that can take over the mind and make animals and insects, which are animals, do certain things that are like zombie-like. Could something like that? I think it's more than just people. Now, a lot of religion is influenced and written by what the people that sold the book, basically, or gave the book away. They had a hand in, when you look through it, to say, okay, yeah, this right here looks like some guys implanted this. I think it's in Romans or something about obeying your government. Peter has something about obey your earthly masters. A slave should. It's like, what? I mean, 2 + 2 is 4. You look at that now. The story of going back to Genesis, or what people would call creation, that seems to be it's not a complete story. So there's more to it, because you find other pieces in other religions. Not saying that it's totally accurate, but saying, look, there's a lot for us to look at. We know that they're always throwing the religion of evolution to get people to think like, oh, it just happened by chance. And it's really evolution. To believe in evolution, to me, is kind of like an IQ test. No matter how high a person's IQ is, if they can't question that, what type of intelligence do they really, have? It's like looking at the official story for one of these catastrophes, whether it be 9/11 or something else, and not being able to discern for yourself that they're lying. Oh, the passport was found. Oh, with this and that. It's like, come on, what is this? We see this with the celebrities that support and endorse candidates. For a celebrity to do that, it's saying, wait a second, why would you do that? To manipulate you. One, I think, is the step of manipulating you to think that your vote actually puts the person in the seat of power. Another one is to think that that person actually has the power. So that's the fairy tale right there. Voting, I said it before, is the thermometer to see how many people still believe in the illusion. That's what voting basically is. It's giving adults a false sense of control under the disguise that they are controlling. You had something, Mr. X?
No, I definitely agree with you on those points. Yeah, yeah, it's either one or two things. It's either low IQ, or it's they have another agenda behind it. When they say evolution's true, but you can tell they're not stupid people, then they have some other issues that they're trying to accomplish. They don't, they probably don't even believe it. If anybody with at least a average intelligence can see the flaws. So it's not even a real argument. But when I argue with some of these other atheists on these other channels, I know they're not that stupid. They can see the flaws in their theory, So they have another agenda for whatever it is. They just hate religious people, or they hate people who are so-called Christians. And my only issue with that is just come out and say you hate Christians. Just say you hate them. You know what I mean? I mean, it's fine, but just be honest about your position. That's my thing. If you're not honest about your position, that's a lack of integrity. So I don't really like dealing with people like that too much.
Yeah. You know, you think about it, it's like I think they're knowingly deceiving people,
Hmm.
because if they're not that stupid, and yeah, I would say a lot of them do that. I would say that I've noticed that it's malicious. It's really like you look at them and it's like a few. Well, I would say more than just a few. You do see the cognitive dissonance. You do see it. They will hold two thoughts that oppose in their mind, and I think it could possibly come from religious trauma. And like I said before, when you have the guys that are religious that try to debunk it scientifically, which they do debunk it scientifically, but then they go right back to telling people this is why you should believe their unscientific belief in a religion. Not saying that it's totally false, but just, they'll say openly what cannot be true is when they say everything in there is the word of God or the word of their creator, regardless which religion it is. And we know that there's certain things in there. We can see that certain things have been changed, have been, like this is something people don't want to look at, because they think it'll destroy their religion. And really, it's like Eric von Daniken had said. He said he never lost his faith. He just thinks that he knows that what he believes in as a higher power does not need a fence to be put up around a mountain so he can come on the mountain. He doesn't need Moses or this guy to speak to him in a certain way. It's really just honest questions saying, look, why would a God need that? I don't understand why. And he says that what he thinks would be the ultimate creator would have to be a lot higher. And yeah, Mr. Super Sidewinder, you might be right. I mean, yeah, you think about it, it's like, yeah, they don't want people to have true independence. And I don't know, the people, when you really look at it, it's a situation, man. Yeah, the baby boomers got to live and enjoy that. And I would say even the generation before that, it was able to get certain things, acquire basics, a place, raise a family, and also have money to put that family through college and stuff like that. And when people got out of high school, they actually had basic skills. And the rest, every generation, yeah. Well, I don't know about everyone before them, but yeah, everyone after them wasn't really. It was a tough one, man.
I mean, Generation X wasn't too bad, I'd say. I mean, it's not too bad. You know what I mean? We still had some pretty good things. At least our teenager years were pretty good. I think the '80s were really rocking.
I think the '80s. The problem that I saw was inflation. Because as a kid, yeah.
Don't you think it's much worse today, though?
It is worse today, but I saw the difference from the '70s to the '80s, the late '70s, as a child. To say, okay, the it really it really was, with ray gun. It really it was a real thing. I mean, he changed laws. He was the one that put in the jab where you couldn't sue the jab companies. So he put that into law because he was 80 to 88. He put into law that you can advertise directly to children over 10 under 10 years old. I think that was in there, and according to YouTube guidelines, will just basically let people know they should look it up just to make sure. It's allegedly, because that's another thing. So yeah, with that, there was a thing about inflation, and there was a few other things. The attempted assassination. That, again, the official story of that, I'm not really, just like the one with this one with the Trump thing. It makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder. Even the Charlie Kirk thing. It's like, do you really think that was the person that did it? So it's so, hey, wrap it up neat and nice. And when you look at, okay, that was meant to distract me from something. It was horrible what happened. Are they telling me the full truth? I doubt that very much. And again, that's thinking for ourselves. That's not saying it's very easy to say, oh, this is what happened when they tell you what happened. It's very easy to repeat that they have us on autopilot. It's very easy to fall back into autopilot. Yeah. And just, yeah, man.
But most people are. They don't want to go against the grain. They don't want to think. Thinking takes too much work. They'd rather just believe what's being told to them and fed to them. And the media knows this. And all they need is the majority. They don't need every single person to be on the same page. Only if it grew to, like, say, if it ever grew to 5 or 10%, okay, then that'd be an issue. Then they'd have a threat. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, if they could get even a third, they could have the other third battle with each other, which we see with the politics, and it's more than a third, say 40% and 40%, and maybe 10% are questioning, 5%, might kind of know what's up with how to see through the illusion when they come out with these news stories. As soon as they come out with the news stories, it's like, come on, every news channel saying the same thing. And then there's another 5% that might be considered the survivors of the zombie apocalypse, of the mentally dead. Because when you talk to people, it's basically like they're out to lunch, man. They're on autopilot. I mean, we saw it in many shows. Guys would come on. I don't know if I mentioned to you, who tried to get on yesterday was Street Maxer.
No, I was there. Yeah, I remember you saying it. Yeah. Yeah, I guess he's.
It kind of, it makes me wonder why. Makes me wonder why, man.
I know we're not talking about those. Maybe he just gets confused with the old channel, so he still thinks we're talking about pickup or something like that. But yeah, he probably doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is true. Like they could just. I would say if you have a few that are implanted to push the agenda of this belief, like let's just use the American dream as an example. And they say, yeah, you can do this, the American dream, even if it's 10%. And then you push that throughout the media, throughout the schools. It could grow very quickly. Yeah.
Well, look at it. Right now, we're in the holiday season. Next week is Black Friday. So they need the zombies to go out and start buying,
Mm-hmm.
The economy runs on this, start spending money, get into debt that you can't afford. Towards the end of the year, they gotta make their profits. So this is when we see the most zombies, is during the holidays, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The holiday season, holiday zombie, man.
Mm-hmm.
Holiday zombie fest.
Yeah.
They tell you when to buy something, and we have fell for it for most of our lives.
We have.
That's something that I think if people look at themselves, that's the beginning of trying to become aware. You can't just go tell somebody else that. Like they will learn more listening to two people have a conversation about it than them being told straight up. And they can add it. That's what's great about having the chat and everything. People can throw in their ideas instead of somebody just, basically trying to tell them. And the depth thing, the depth is so messed up, man. It's so, another thing too, when I look at what they're doing with the deficit, like when you see the $1 trillion missing,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Pentagon gets audited and nothing, becomes of that. So they're saying in, many news articles, and people can look it up. It makes you wonder. I think it's another part of seeing the apathy in society to say, okay, let me see how apathetic people are. We could tell them this, and let's see if they even come together to talk about it or discuss it. Nothing.
No. Society wasn't always like that either.
It wasn't. They saw during the Vietnam thing, everything is, they have the films and stuff like that. They saw a lot. I mean, there was people not standing for it because a lot of their loved ones weren't coming home, or
Yes, or injured, seriously injured.
injured. I think what they say is that more people ended themselves when they came back
Yeah.
than were
Right.
off in the war. Yeah, that's yeah, and then it continues on, but it continues on like a silent scale, and then it comes up because like stuff was happening. Look at the Panama thing at the in the 80s too. So that was another one when we think
Mhm.
about that. There was a few other ones too, the Contras and stuff like that. Kept on the down low, but it was happening. It wasn't as big as Nam or Korea or something like that, but it was there. And really, when I really think about it, it's like, how much do we really know?
Yeah,
If
not
it-
that much.
right? Yeah, they're telling us that in the open. It's like, all right, so what are you not telling me? And all along the way, what I notice is we're being, there's pollution everywhere. The pollution is increasing.
Hmm.
And now with the internet, I'm glad because they're talking about a lot of this. People are really coming out with that, saying, look, these things that we wear, that we eat, that we breathe, that we sleep on, they have chemicals in them that cause problems.
Yeah. I mean,
That
I don't want to say the word, but if it's against YouTube policy, but it starts with a C, that disease that starts with a C, and it seems to be the statistics don't lie.
mhm.
From 1 year it jumped up 36%, 2020 to 2021, and it's skyrocketed. It's over 100% since 1990. That's not, it can't be coincidence,
Yeah, yeah.
you know.
It's really the American dream. Not only is it a lie, I think that it's a very well crafted one.
Yeah.
And I mean, because it showed people that was like they seemed to have achieve it. I think Magic Man says it best here: the American fantasy. That's probably a better way to put it. The American fantasy. So people are living the American fantasy right now. People are living the American fantasy. When I showed that thing that Musk said about people should feel sorry for him,
Hmm.
because he's rich, because he's good, that's ridiculous, man. That's like ridiculous. It
Yeah.
just
Well, I do agree with some people when they say America is a corporation, not a culture. I do agree with that. It is really a corporation. If we look at it as a corporation, what's their agenda? And
yeah.
this as running it as a corporation, because like you mentioned, a lot of the foods, the ingredients that go in the foods, many, most of those ingredients in Europe, they're not even allowed. They're considered too toxic, so they won't even let their people eat them.
Yeah.
Uh, there's much different standards in Europe for the food as compared to America. So if we're a corporation rather than a culture, maybe we're just a big experiment. That's all
Mhm.
here, for the corporation. What can we get away with? What will the what ingredients? How can we make things cheaper? And what ingredients can we put in that's safe? And we'll test it on the lab rats here in America. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I think it's more like that, more lab rat city.
Hmm.
Because the fact that nobody is caring that other countries are banning the foods that are available here. Certain, I think it's like 30 foods that are banned in other countries, certain chemicals in the food, chemical dyes, preservatives, and stuff like that. And you think about that, like, wow. So these people are banning it, and they're telling people, the word is getting around saying, hey, you know what? These countries have banned all of these foods, and nobody cares.
No.
That's the craziest thing. The majority of people do not care. Even the ones that might care, they'll still eat when they get around the other zombies.
Yeah.
They say, well, we went out, and it's like, oh, okay, so you guys went out. Did you you know, what did you eat? You drank some microplastics and stuff like that? And we all sometimes slip back into this. It's not saying that, you know, anything that one person is because they're more strict, they're better or anything. It's just to say, man, look at how everything around us, it inundates us with it. You'd have to carry your own water bottle, glass water bottle with water, which I used to carry a bottle. Like some people do too. They'll exercise, they'll have their own bottle. Microplastics come off the top of that too.
They do.
The lid. So it's like, I mean, and then they had a study recently trying to say that the microplastics in the bottles were more than the ones in the plastic, but the glass bottles were more than the plastic. And a guy looked into the study, and I think it was certain particle size. So if you go down and you measure like the small particle size, of course, the plastic bottles are going to have way more microplastics. But being at those studies, they push a study out. And I remember years ago, people would say, yeah, if they say scientists say, people automatically believe it. They don't question it. They don't look at the study, and they definitely don't think about it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I know glass particles during shipping, like on alcohol. I've heard this on videos. You know, with them moving around during shipping, some of that, microscopic glass particles can get into the liquids of sodas or alcohol and so forth. So you could be eating shard glass and not even know it, just on a microscopic level, which still do damage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very true. I mean, I understand, you know, Gigi saying about the population. I don't think it's really overpopulated, man. It's like when you look at the guys that are pushing these videos saying the world is overpopulated and everything, there's too many people. It's like, well, do you really believe that? You know, it's like when you look at, if you do the math of the amount of people and you do it, you know, you look at the land mass and stuff like that. I mean, there is way more than enough land resources for 10 times. And this might seem crazy, but if you do the math, you'll see it's true. 10 times the amount of people that are on Earth right now. There's enough if everybody worked together for not just the people that's here, but 10 times the amount of that. So say what, 8 billion, 80 billion. And this is something that people will say, oh, they'll just dismiss it without thinking about it. But it is. If you just look at the fact that they weren't giving money away to other countries, stealing it, or it's missing magically, we would have such a surplus. It would be ridiculous. Then you could really help the world.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like trying to help somebody when you're drowning. You can't do that.
No. Well, no politician runs on, well, you elect me and I'm going to send all this money abroad. Nobody votes for that. But that's what ends up happening in the end anyway. So it's like, our vote, does it really matter? And, you know, as far as overpopulation goes, that all ties back into the cult of evolution. When you could sit there and say, you know, we have too many people consuming resources, we've got to save the earth. That is not saying that people are beings of a higher power. That's saying the cult of evolution is true, that we're really much primordial slime evolved to a higher order, so no problem getting rid of half the population. It's fine. You know, you can say things like that.
Yeah. And when you think about it, that if they were smart enough to look at it and say, okay, they'll analyze the theory of evolution, they would realize that there's no population that does that. It's only if you set something out of balance. And how we've set certain things, it still nature manages to find a way. And with us, you know, to think that it's just us, that's the craziest thing. That's the most egotistical thing.
Exactly. Yeah. That makes no sense whatsoever from a logical standpoint of view. There has to be something outside of our minds that created all this and holds it all together. Has to have a mind. That's my whole argument. It's not so much religious and there has to be a mind outside of our own running things.
You're right. Somebody was thinking about that. You had them really thinking about, how does I think it was Bama actually.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and then coming up with the basic thing of saying that, oh well, a baby is formed without a. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It really shows you where they're at. It's like, okay, so that baby is being gestated in a being with a mind,
Yeah.
and that's the zombie thing, man.
And plus, I'm talking from an origins perspective, not so much, if a woman has a baby, come on, you know what I mean? I'm talking from a naturalistic
Yeah.
origin perspective. How did some naturalistic process end up creating beings with minds?
Hmm.
Talking about evolution, if you want to call it evolution, if you want to call it, the natural process from the day the Earth was created
Hmm.
or came into existence. What process made it a mind? How would it logically be feasible for a non-mind to create a mind? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
No.
No, I definitely see where you're coming from, but to say the baby experiment, it's like that's so. It's like, what are you crazy? A
Mhm.
person is giving birth. A person with a mind is giving birth to the baby.
Yeah, exactly. What's there to think about? you know, that's your
Yeah,
argument.
right. It just some of the stuff they say is just like what?
He's just looking for a way to prove it wrong. Like he doesn't even want the truth. He just wants to make sure you're wrong. And he's thinking of something that can validate the negative, the best explanation he can. It's not even about is it true or is it not true. No, he's not even going to entertain that.
Yeah.
You know, like I'll ask evolutionists, what about our origins? Like, how did you come? How did we come into being? I said, oh, I came in from my parents. It's like you know damn well that's not the question I was asking.
Yeah.
Like out of context, and it's just. But all you do is prove that you're disingenuous. That's all you do there. You have no integrity. You're not, and it definitely takes you away from a truth seeker perspective. You have no interest in truth. You have an agenda.
Yeah.
So there's not even a point of really taking seriously the debate because once you express that point of view, I know you're not serious about truth. So I'm not going to really take much time into debating you. That's like a waste of breath and energy. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's more like then I'm just going to throw it on you. Well, tell me a little bit about how this was created. Tell me because I'll make play dumb. I'll say I've always been confused about it. Like I asked one person, like, where did minds come from a nine? I went to that channel, Breakfast Tacos, and I asked about the same question. How could a natural process create beings with minds? And he says, well, it's based on emergence. Well, what does that mean? It just happened, So
Hmm.
nice way of saying it just happened, or a fancy way of saying it. It's like you want to make yourself sound smarter. It's like that's not science. You're just saying it came about. So
Yeah. It just emerged, right?
yeah, it merged.
That's the craziest thing, And most people that, and that's why I say I respect religious people, monotheistic, polytheistic, just openly religious people more because they will admit that their belief is a religion. It's requires no proof. This is what they believe to be true. And
Mhm.
that's cool. Evolution, the deception is always there. Oh no, they're not religious, but evolution is basically a religion.
But can I just say that most of the people I know that I encounter, and I think the vast majority, the
Mhm.
religion that they go to is just based more on tradition. They were raised a certain way, Catholic,
Yeah.
Muslim, so forth. It's just something they do every Sunday. But I think they're still. I'm looking at the majority now.
Mhm.
Most of them will accept evolution as the truth. Also, they just take church as a tradition thing they've always done. It's a family get together, you dress up, you look nice, but they're not. Are they really that religious? Probably not. A lot of them you'll see.
The real oxymoron is the ones that say they're religious, but they also believe in evolution. That's like the full blown oxymoron right there.
Oh yeah, you hear a
It's like,
lot.
yeah, it's like how?
Mhm. And my only perspective is just I'm a truth seeker, so I want to live in reality.
Hmm.
Just like when you wrote your book, Secret Words. Well, guess what? That's reality.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people are afraid of that because all I'm doing is asking the question and putting forth the thing, saying, "Look, in these books, in these words, there are letters that can respell a word that is relevant to the first word."
Mhm.
So, like I was saying, it's like it's not just saying, "Oh, uh you know this is the word president also says blue boat, spells that, which is irrelevant to the word president, but the fact that it says is pretend, that's the it's like, whoa, wait a second. So that word literally says is pretend, and it it really I'm surprised people don't look at it as more serious as what it actually is. When we look at this and we start to say, wow, this is crazy, man. The fact that this word actually says that is just, it's very, it should spark, it should actually spark a, some type of thinking to say, wait, how does, so the word that they're telling me is the guy that supposedly run the country is pretend. That makes me, it makes you think like, wait, how, okay, somebody might say, well, that's just that, word, right? So when we look at it, we say, okay, let's look at another word. We'll look at another word. We'll say, okay, maybe something even political. I'll see if I got something in the political thing.
Yeah, we have a lot of good ones in the book about the presidential election and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, the presidential,
So,
let me
and
see. I think this was the one. Presidential election, presidential candidates, identical partisan deeds. So we
yeah,
have that one. Yeah, and it's like there
and
is,
like you said, the right and the left, they're the wings of the same bird, and it's true. It's
yes,
true. It is.
yeah, yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it's secret words is something that really it really is something that I think should be looked into, because it's telling us that, hey, the US presidential election, politics are tense in the duel. So it's like a duel that's tense and it deals with politics. How
Right.
can those words be, come from the same? I mean, it's just too similar.
And who's battling the duel? It's not the two candidates. It's the people. It's the people out in the streets fighting each other.
Yeah. And remember, he says listen and silent use the same letters. Yes, exactly. Yeah, the same letters that spell listen also spell silent. That's the anagram, because there's no extra letters, there's no added letters. That's actually a very good one.
Very good. Yeah.
It lets us know, like, wow, how is that? So you have to be silent really to listen.
And tense in the duel. It's really good because I've heard of stories, especially with Trump just getting in.
Hmm.
People have gotten divorced over this. It's just it affects all fabrics of society.
Hmm.
Street fights, hatred towards other people, loss of friendships, everything. It's a real deception. It's a real spell on the American people. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, this one's deep. The US presidential election can be rearranged, every letter, to
Mhm.
spell the phrase elite hustlers in a deception.
Exactly.
That one is just off the Richter scale right there. To say,
Yes.
okay, we got president is pretend, and then we have the US presidential election saying it's elite hustlers in a deception. That's, I mean, coincidences don't exist, man. Where if somebody say, "Oh, it's a coincidence," it's like, how is it doing this phrase after phrase after phrase? When we look at the, you must have saw this one, in the book, climate change can be
Mhm.
spelled, rearranged to spell the word chemical agent.
Yeah.
And
That's
what,
not a coincidence at all.
right? It's like, how can a climate change be induced by that? And you know what? I'm got to be careful on saying that because it might get a disclaimer. I'm staying within the guidelines of just This is letters and not dealing with anything serious,
Right.
which people just need to, I mean, to get people to even look at something these days is very hard, you know.
No, but it's, you gotta, I think if you go into it knowing that most of the world is zombified, I think it makes things a lot easier. When you present this type of information, that your expectations are tempered based on the fact that most people are zombified. They just don't
Hmm.
want to see it, you
Yeah,
know?
no, definitely. And this one, an agnostic, we got a person that's saying they don't know, basically, is against Khan. So they're against the Khan, all of the evolution religion. They're against the Khan. They're saying, look, I don't know, just, but I mean, this one, yeah, the elite hustlers are just secret words. I might expand it to a second part, but the first part is very, yeah, it's very, it's like a test to see what people, whether or not they're awake. Like, did you learn anything in school? Respelled into you said no, nearly nothing, child. Or you can change the positioning of the words, right? You
Mhm.
said no, child, nearly nothing. So if the child, it's like if the child is asking you a question, you can rephrase this into you said no, child, nearly nothing. So did you learn anything in school? How does that respell? I mean, it's so non-coincidental. It deserves a lot of deeper thought into it. I'm just looking to see if I have, like, I had a few other ones that like theism and stuff like that.
I really like the one on the UFOs, and trying to remember right now because I read right through the book in like a day and a half. So,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, I made it easy so people could reread it. I
oh yeah,
think I have
that's the way.
I
That,
did the Area 51, Fear of a Tiny Foe.
yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, and when they say alien spacecraft, which we've seen it a lot, right? A
Mhm.
panic scare felt, or can, if you put felt in the front, felt a panic scare.
Yes. And
Alien
that right
spacecraft.
now, right now, we're seeing that. They're saying we're bringing in whistleblowers and people are testifying before Congress. We're
Hmm.
seeing the beginning stages of it
Yeah,
right
yeah,
as we speak. I mean, they're constantly coming out talking about these. What are they hiding from us? The UFOs. What are they hiding from us? It's like they're just
yes,
setting it up.
yeah. It's always some type of fear, the
Hmm.
scare, the fear, always something like that. And when they say alien spacecraft, the fact that it can spell felt a panic scare felt. You can rephrase it in different ways. What was the other one? Area 51, military base Area 51 is basically saying fortify area, it may be aliens.
Mm,
There is, when somebody says that this is a coincidence, we already know at that point how zombified they are.
exactly.
To say, look, we're just saying, look at these so-called coincidences. They're not even coincidences. They're really similarities. Like that would be a more definitive type of word, to describe, more descriptive word, to say, look at this similarity between this. This is uncanny. This is like, so if we were to say fortify area, it may be aliens, that spells the phrase military base Area 51 or Area 51 military base, either way you put it. This is, yeah, something hidden within the language. Something hidden within the language, man. Was there anything that stood out when you read the book, like in particular?
Yeah, definitely the ones with the aliens and the presidential elections. I mean, they're all pretty good. I guess the alien thing is just more, maybe, I think they're all equally good, but,
Hmm.
it depends on your interests. And of course, I've always been interested in the alien aspect of it because of, my own experiences in life, seeing those crafts that I did see over the Everglades.
Yeah.
I just think they live. I do believe, that it's there is probably a hybrid race out there of people.
Oh, yeah. Probably several.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did photograph them, you know.
Yeah, I know they're real. I mean, like I said, could it be some advanced government weaponry? Possibly. I'm not saying it isn't,
Hmm.
but I saw what I saw, and I took a
Yeah.
photo of it. I was able to get one good picture of it, and it was definitely a craft. And it had a camouflage of an orb, basically. From a distance, it looks like an orb, a red orb. But
Wow.
close, we were to see it was a craft. Now,
Wow.
yeah. I can't say for certain where it comes from or whatnot. And people say, oh, well, the photo wasn't that great. Well, hold on. I don't have a tripod set up for it. You know what I mean? I don't have professional camera work ready to go. It's just,
Hmm.
I happened to see it by chance. That's the case for most people. Just now, at
Yeah.
least the phones are much more. That was back when it was iPhone 1 or 2,
Hmm.
2009, 2010 or something. I took that photo. And yeah, I know it's real. I just, my personal belief is it's here on Earth. That's just my personal belief that it's below our Earth's surface. I think that's where it exists. I don't think it's coming from another dimension because, like I say, nothing physical could travel the vastness of space in any amount of time.
Yeah.
I believe that, but that I do believe in a spiritual realm. Could spirits have inhabited the bodies of humans and created a hybrid race?
Hmm.
I could see it. Yes, I do believe that's possible. Now it's more leaning towards the biblical aspect of it, but like I say, it all comes down to I'll go where the evidence leads me. That's why I try to leave out any bias. I believe if you really want the truth, if you're a true truth seeker, you'll go with the evidence.
Hmm.
Leave your own personal wants, beliefs, opinions out of the equation, and just go where it leads.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly, man. That's really the only way to start to search for the truth without, believing in what somebody else says or wants you to believe or forces people. They try to, when people are forcing belief on people, that right there should raise a red flag.
Yes.
Right? It should be like, okay, let me look at the stuff you're trying to tell me to believe and see if it's even feasible. Like, and then this is how cults are created when
Hmm.
people just, yeah. And you're right. People are born into it sometimes. Yeah, it's a tough one, man.
And like you had the zombies on. I won't mention his name, but we know who we're talking about. It's like, what does it matter? Well,
Yeah.
because the reality of the world we're living in. That's why it matters. And it
Yeah.
affects our daily life, whether you understand it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It
Hmm.
guides us. It sends us in certain directions. It makes us do certain things that we maybe would not have done
Yeah.
and react certain ways, paranoid and so forth. I mean, you should have seen this, the rush at stores, back in 2020 when that thing was happening. I mean, people were like hordes trying to hoard. You remember the toilet paper thing? Or there was no, you
Hmm.
couldn't find toilet paper anywhere. Um, yeah. So don't say, what does it matter? It does matter because it affects our lives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the way people acted. It was crazy, man.
Hmm.
It was like a Black Friday event for that continued on for several days to almost a month, I think.
Yeah. I just happened to be lucky because that day, the day it was even announced, I happened to be at Costco. I used to belong to Costco at that time.
Hmm.
I had loaded up on all my essentials without even without before I even realized what was happening. I really lucked out. Um, but
Wow.
other people probably had to suffer. They couldn't get their basic essentials at the store because of the zombies.
Yeah. The zombies were buying like triple, quadruple amounts.
And some people were selling it on eBay trying to make money on it. You know.
Oh, yeah. I think people did price gouge, right?
Yeah, they did. They showed one video of a guy buying pallets of toilet paper just so he could resell it at quadruple or whatever price he wanted to charge. So
Yeah. It was an easy doubling of the money.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That right there, just double price would have somebody probably buy out your whole inventory so they could sell it for a higher price.
That's what they were doing. That's
Yeah.
exactly what they were doing. And so, yeah, it affects our lives. It's like zombie, wake up. What does it matter? I mean,
Yeah.
on that's a moronic response. That's
Yeah. Very, very moronic.
that shows stupidity because at that point, it does affect you
Hmm.
and affects
No,
your.
you're right.
That's a moronic response.
Yeah.
You know.
And how do you're going in today, like in a little bit?
Oh yeah, I work every night pretty much.
Okay,
Do a
okay.
little
So
overtime.
like, what do you got? Like a couple of hours or an hour or two?
Well, I have to make some phone calls at getting close to 9. So I'll have to.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Because I was gonna stream now for about this hour, and then I might come back on tonight. Like, so when you're, I guess when you're at work, if you want to listen in or something.
Yeah, usually around just after 11:30.
Mhm.
I'm good to go.
Yeah, and I figure since it's Saturday, it's one of those days where people do stay up late. They don't have to, they're free tomorrow. But
But this was a good conversation. It's a good clip because we're not talking stupidity like when some other guys come on. You know what I mean? I won't mention names,
exactly,
not the right,
exactly.
of course, but
Yeah,
they really. I mean, it was fine on Smash. I don't get that, but in these conversations, it's kind of a drag. You know what I mean? I think like Diego knows that's a great guest to have on. He is a great guest. Those are the kind of people we need more of those coming on here for this kind of channel. It could really take off. You know.
yeah, yeah. He's a cool guy, man. I really appreciate him coming on. You know who else was good? The other guy that came on for the clones, Guy Peterson.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. He was good.
Yeah, really cool guest. Um, I think it was William Kane who wrote the book on subliminal stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
and was that your inspiration to write the book Secret Words? I'm just curious. Or yeah.
no, actually, his how did I stumble upon his stuff? There was a there was another researcher that William Kane studied under that I had saw his work on. Trying to think whose stuff, but I saw it a while ago. What was that guy's name again? Because I have a book called I think it's Mind Control or Mind Programming.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Mind Programming by Eldon Taylor, and he showed some of the works of that doctor, and that guy went pretty deep on a lot of stuff too. He went deep on the Michael Jackson videos, like from what I've heard,
Mm-hmm.
and so where did I see William Kane? I think when I was researching it, something had popped up. He was the only one that I can get in touch with, and I got in touch with him by phone. It was two numbers, and I called one, it wasn't work. I called the other one, bang, it was him. And then I was like, hey, would you like to come on a show? This and that. He goes, sure. And he had a new book out, which was the book he talked about on there. I think it was messages in like artwork, like
Yeah.
Renaissance before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he was really great. I think he used to teach at like one of the Boston universities. And he was a professor, I think, for like 2 decades. Really nice guy, man. Really nice guy, man. He just that was a cool, conversation there. Um, I think I had that other guy. What was his channel? Like Exit the Matrix. He had came on. I forgot Bob or something. I think, which was cool. Um, yeah, but Diego's definitely, very interactive. Like just hanging out like one of the guys. So that was definitely cool. The other guy's a little more like Guy Peterson is very. He wrote the book, The Tesla and the Cabbage Patch Babies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we talked about that a little. Matter of fact, I might see if I can get him back on. That would be great. I don't know what he's been doing, but I think he did very well with the book.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think he's from the UK. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
or
Now,
he might be from Australia. He could be.
now
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah.
yeah, that was a while ago. Yeah, definitely. There's got to be a network of people that to collaborate with.
Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
Oh
Right.
yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah.
But I figure, I'll put some stuff together, and yeah, I'll try to hop back on like around 11 or 12, and yeah, if you're around, we'll.
No, no, I should definitely be around. That sounds great.
Okay. That sounds cool. All right. I'll talk to you soon. And everybody, thank you for being in the chat. And yeah, we'll continue this in a few hours. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks.